Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Poland has announced further nationwide restrictions as coronavirus cases continue to surge in the third wave of the pandemic. Shopping malls, cinemas, theatres, museum, art galleries and other entertainment institutions will be closed throughout the country, and school grades 1 to 3 will return to remote learning.
4 provinces had already been on a limited lockdown, but these measures will now be extended across the country. Nationwide restrictions are about to be announced by the Prime Minister and the Health Minister. The situation is bad indeed. The need to control it is of fundamental importance. Minister of Health Adam NIEDZIELSKI announced at a news conference that the restrictions would now apply nationwide. The decisions about further restrictions are now nationwide. The Health Minister went on to outline the measures and underlined the seriousness of the current situation. Shopping malls, cinemas, theatres, museums, art galleries and other entertainment institutions will be closed in the whole country. Swimming pools, saunas, solariums and sports centres will be closed as well. The most important information for parents and children is that, sadly, we have to go back to remote learning at schools, grades 1 to 3. And if these measures are not sufficient, the Minister did not rule out further measures. If this move does not result in easing the pandemic, or at least in slowing down the third wave, the next steps will be a typical lockdown, a typical situation in which we will be totally closing everything. It seems that Poland is now heading for a second Easter under lockdown.
Polish Prime Minister Matuesz Morawiecki travelled to Paris today to meet French President Emmanuel Macron. The main topic discussed by the two leaders was the vaccine rollout across Europe and the proposed measures to increase vaccine production within the European Union in the coming months.
The French President has taken the forefront in an effort to call on the European Commission to do more to increase the number of vaccine doses available to European Union citizens. During a press conference ahead of the meeting, President Macron praised the decision of the European Union to purchase vaccines together as a collective. This pandemic led us to set up collective responses, with the creation last summer of a common vaccine purchase platform to make sure no member state is left aside when it comes to vaccine orders. However, the French President did emphasise that more pressure needs to be put on biotech companies to deliver the promised amount of doses on time. I support the announcements made by the European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on the issue of vaccine orders and the decisions made by the President and the Commissioner Thierry Breton, aiming to demand that all labs honour the orders they agreed with, Europeans, and particularly to demand reciprocity in measures taken all over the world. President Macron also stated that vaccine production in Europe will increase in the coming months. Europe will be, within the next few months, among the places producing the most vaccines in the world. These weeks we are going through are the most difficult, we know it, but there are clearly perspectives ahead, and it is thanks to Europe that we will be stronger on those issues. Prime Minister Morawiecki stated that Poland and France share the view that production of many types of goods must return to Europe for the continent to be truly autonomous. Today, the vaccination programmes, the cooperation with the European Council and the pressure we put on the companies, producers of vaccines, to deliver them to France, to Poland, to Europe as soon as possible, is a fundamental task we are carrying out together. We underline how important it is for all of Europe to act in solidarity in this sphere. It also proves how important it is for the production, its particular elements and sectors, to be European. Emmanuel talked about it many times, and I strongly support France in saying that we must get the production that over the past 20 or 30 years has been outsourced outside Europe, back to Europe, to France, to Poland. This is crucial for European autonomy in spheres which are fundamentally important. Both countries have entered a difficult phase of the third wave of the pandemic, with tens of thousands of new COVID-19 cases reported daily.
The United States Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has met his Japanese counterpart Nobuo Kishi in Tokyo for a discussion that centred on China's activities in the East and South China Seas. The meeting comes as the new Biden administration is stepping up its effort to form a regional alliance in the Pacific to meet the challenges from the rise of China.
The United States Defense Secretary is in Japan together with Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Their visit to Eastern Asia comes following the virtual summit held last week by the leaders of the United States, Japan, Australia and India, forming the so-called Quad Alliance. Japanese Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi told his United States counterpart that the security environment in the Indo-Pacific is becoming increasingly difficult. As the security environment of the Indo-Pacific is becoming increasingly severe, the fact that you chose Japan as the first destination of your overseas tour and that we're able to hold a defence ministers meeting as well as a 2+2 meeting today sends a strong message both domestically and internationally about the US commitments to this region and the robustness of the Japan-US alliance. A free and open Indo-Pacific region, the concept of a free and open Indo-Pacific, is a major priority for Tokyo as it seeks to curb China's activity in the East and South China Seas.
I'm pleased to be in Japan on my first international trip as Secretary of Defense. The U.S.-Japan alliance is strong, and I look forward to charting a path towards continued success in the future.
The U.S. Secretary of Defense reassured his Japanese partners that the U.S.-Japanese alliance remains solid.
Yet today our alliance forges on, resolute and resilient, in the face of our shared challenges. And without question, the U.S.-Japan alliance remains the cornerstone in addressing today's and tomorrow's challenges as we work together to uphold a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Other issues discussed during the meeting include semiconductor supply chain security, the North Korean nuclear issue, and the military coup in Myanmar.
Egypt is putting the finishing touches to its grandiose new capital city in the desert east of Cairo. The first civil servants will start working there in July, a couple of months ahead of the delayed official opening of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's flagship project.
At the heart of the city, workers are putting finishing touches to an avenue of ministries that echo the architecture of pharaohic temples and adjoin a raised Islamic complex, two domed parliament buildings, and a sprawling presidential compound. We are preparing to open the new administrative capital, hopefully this year. Starting around July, we'll begin moving civil servants in succession until the appointment for the opening at the end of the year. There will be a monorail passing through a business district where a 385-metre central tower is close to completion. The city, known simply as the new administrative capital, is designed to operate with smart technology on virgin land away from the clutter and chaos of Cairo. The coronavirus pandemic also slowed progress, and the first of 3 planned phases, covering 168 square kilometres, will not have been completed when the government begins to move in. The rate of completion of the first phase has passed 60% across all projects. When we started planning, we planned to make it an attractive project, with attractive features and landmarks. The city is being designed as a high-tech model for Egypt's future. Control centres will monitor infrastructure and security electronically, roofs will be covered in solar panels, payments will be cashless, and 15 square metres of green space allocated per inhabitant, officials said. We are aiming to facilitate the citizens' life. We are aiming to have a cashless community in the new capital. We are trying to solve all the problems we had in the past in the new capital. 50,000 civil servants are expected to make the move this summer, but the city will be built to house at least 6 million residents, with its second and third phases of construction being largely residential.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.